Italy is now instituting hard lockdowns, hard quarantines like we saw in China, now impacting 16 million people. Some of these stories are crazy, like people who try and approach the barriers of the quarantine zones will have law enforcement aim weapons at them, things like that. And now Austria is saying it's just a matter of time before the rest of these European nations start locking down their borders. Now, don't think it can't happen here because it is already starting. 70 people from that nursing home in Washington are now sick. In New York, they're telling let me just read you the headline. FDNY issues order pulling back firefighters from calls describing coronavirus symptoms, says it is prioritizing responses. That doesn't sound like prioritizing responses to me. Sounds like you're saying we can't have this affect our emergency personnel. Do not respond to coronavirus cases. I think it's getting bad. I think it's going to get real bad. What people don't understand is that there are a lot of organizations, there are a lot of governments who have a vested interest in trying to downplay things, for sure. I think Donald Trump has certainly been downplaying this. And I'll be fair in saying that a panic would be really, really bad. If Trump came out and said the end is nigh, of course, people would freak out more than they already are, because it's exactly what happened in Australia, where people are fighting over toilet paper. I kid you not. So I get it. Rock in a hard place for any government officials. It's really easy for the left to smear Trump and say it's his fault while screaming the end is nigh, because they can always pass the buck onto him. But if he came out and said this is going to get bad, please bunker down, they'd be screaming he's inciting panic. Over in Australia, check this out. It isn't Mad Max. Woman charged after fight over toilet paper. I'm going to say something I say in all of these videos with the coronavirus, and then we'll read the news. It's not the apocalypse, and calm down. Now, many of you who've watched all of my videos on this, you might be wondering why I keep saying it. And I'll tell you why. Because spineless fake news journalists will wait for the single moment where I don't mention something like that, and then try and use that against me, because this is serious. We've seen how they're already accusing people of being fearmongers and all this stuff. So listen, the end is not nigh. The people screaming are overreacting. The truth is closer to the middle. There's going to be lockdowns. There's going to be supply chain disruption, and people will lose their lives. It's getting worse by the day. This could end up becoming something global. Take it seriously. And if you haven't already, you need to buy some supplies. You really, really do. I just showed you that video of, I'm sorry, not the video. I did show the video the other day, but I showed you the story. A woman was charged after fighting over toilet paper in Sydney. I almost don't blame her. This is a video, and it's kind of shocking, where one family has like 7 individual toilet paper bundles. So what? They have like 35, 40 plus toilet paper rolls, filling their shopping cart with toilet paper. Somebody shows up late and there's none left. They've actually started positioning guards at stores in Australia over this. And the woman apparently said, I just want one. They said, no, a fight breaks out. What did I say would happen 2 weeks ago? That if you don't go and take care of yourself, it will be you in the parking lot of Walmart fighting over the last can of beans with Agnes. Now, of course, the circumstances I described, it wasn't 100% accurate, but you get the gist of what I was saying. Because we are now seeing people fighting in stores. We saw some in Italy. Some guy got punched in the face. Apparently that was about coronavirus fears. I don't know if it had anything to do with shortages, but shortages are coming. We are already seeing, I didn't know toilet paper would be the first to go, but apparently it is. People are fighting over it. Italy is locking down 16 million people, and Austria is saying it's just a matter of time before Europe does the rest. How long do you think until the US starts doing this? We've seen South by Southwest canceled, Google I/O canceled, Facebook, Twitter, Amazon. They're being impacted by this. Facebook and Twitter, I think, are telling people work from home. It is only a matter of time. People are going to start limiting social interactions. People are not going to go to stores. Stores are going to get raided. Supply chain will be disrupted. This could get bad. I mean, it already is. But it hit Italy, and they didn't expect it. This is what you need to understand. A couple of weeks ago, they had a few isolated cases and said, it's fine, we'll quarantine it. All of a sudden, northern Italy got hit so hard, they started implementing soft quarantines, telling people stay home. We're seeing that same thing now in the U.S., soft quarantine. Hey, we need everybody in King County, 2.2 million people in Washington, to work from home, stay home, don't go out. If you're over 60, don't go out. Now it's just begun. We are seeing soft quarantine in the U.S., in my opinion, is only a matter of time before we see hard quarantine. Now, I don't want to say hard quarantine in the sense like your door is locked shut because of like what China is doing. But I think it's fair to say that you're going to see checkpoints. You're going to see, limited access, supply chain disruption. And I hate to say it, but I think we're getting to the point where it might be too late for many people. If you have not gone out and carefully bought moderate supplies like your regular old groceries, then you should do so as soon as you can. It might be too late for many people. Like in Seattle, we're seeing store shelves be, just emptied. And we have one story, apparently, Seattle has shut down a Starbucks because someone who worked there, I believe, had the coronavirus. They say an employee tested positive. You know what that means? It means somebody was working at that shop, had the coronavirus, and was handing out drinks or working with food. I've got even scarier information. I do. And listen, anybody who's trying to look, I'm not going to pretend like it's Ebola and, the world's going to get wiped out. It is going to have a serious impact on us. And Amtrak has announced a suspension of train rides from New York to D.C. Look at this. Amtrak takes active measures to maintain safe environment. While there are no current travel restrictions on Amtrak, we understand customers may have concerns. As a valued customer, we are waiving change fees on all existing or new reservations. Okay, is it service adjustment? Here we go. Starting Tuesday, March 10th, Acela nonstop service is suspended until Tuesday, May 26th. So my understanding is that this specifically impacts a nonstop train from DC to New York. It's going to start. I mean, it started. I'm sorry. It started. It's from the Daily Wire. Amtrak to halt nonstop train from DC to New York. So there you go. Don't panic. That's the worst thing you can do. If you want to maximize your comfortability, your comfort, if you want to maximize your, ability to withstand the boredom that is about to ensue, then you need to remain calm. I really don't think, for the most part, we're at risk of everyone dropping dead with some zombie plague or something. No, that's silly. But the thing about this virus is that people don't have immunity, so it is spreading fast, and it will spread further and faster. The other day, I was reading a tweet from a biologist who said, we can see this hitting billions of people if it's not checked. And that's just doing basic epidemiology tracking, sequencing or whatever. But I did see, I think it was from the American Hospital Association, that they're projecting a possible 94 million global infections by July. You have to wonder why these governments are freaking out. Don't listen to what the pundit class of ivory tower elites mocking you are saying. They're telling you, don't get supplies. Who cares? Don't listen to them. Do what's right in your gut. The last thing you should do, though, is go buy 50 rolls of toilet paper. That's insane. All right, let other people have toilet paper too. Okay, calm down. But I look at the actions, not the words. And when I see China going insane, I said it. They're going nuts for a reason. Italy underreacted. Now look where they are. Let's read a little bit of the story from Daily Beast. Italy locks down 16 million people to contain coronavirus. Rome passed a decree that will stop all movement in much of northern Italy, including the cities of Venice and Milan, to try and halt the rapid spread of the deadly coronavirus. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something I don't normally do, but I have to do it. This is a story from Reuters. More countries will have to adopt Italy-style virus steps. I'm going to give a shout out to safeandreadymeals.com. Again, safeandreadymeals.com. It's emergency food supply. They are backlogged to a ridiculous degree. If you go there, it is likely you won't receive these supplies for months. However, we don't know how long whatever is happening will happen. So if you don't care for this stuff, by all means, ignore me. But I will tell you this right now. You should not panic. These are 2-week food supplies. They have 1 week. I think they have 1 week supplies, 4-week supplies. They last for a long time. I personally have some emergency food. I went shopping, but think about this. Several weeks ago, when I said you should take this seriously, there were people who went out and did. Now we're seeing in Washington, in New York, voluntary quarantines, soft quarantines. FDNY is not responding to some cases, but more importantly, the people in Europe. I got an email from someone saying that they listened to my advice and they just bought some basic. They went grocery shopping. It wasn't a big deal. And now they're on lockdown. And now the lockdown just became a hard quarantine. So if you didn't do it, you don't have to listen to me. I personally did do this. I have emergency food in little buckets, and I have rice and beans and stuff. And I do not think the world is going to end. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to need it. That's the point. You hope to not need it. But I will mention YouTube is demonetizing all coronavirus-related videos. Going to safeandreadymeals.com does help support my channel. And while they are backlogged, I personally still think it's a good idea. You notice I don't normally do shout-outs for companies. I don't do it. I take this seriously, and I really do mean it. I mean that sincerely. So safeandreadymeals.com, you can check it out. It's a major discount on their normal rates for this kind of stuff. It will be delayed for you most likely, but here's the point. No matter what ends up happening, you'll likely need this stuff at some point. People in Nashville just faced a massive tornado. If they had this, many people would be better prepared. I'm not saying you want to prepare for the end of the world and build a bunker. That's ridiculous. But take your first aid kit, get a 5-gallon thing of water you can just put in your closet, and you keep it for emergencies. That's the point. We don't expect emergencies to happen all the time. We prepare. Daily Beast says, the Italian government has approved an unprecedented decree that will block all unnecessary movement for nearly 16 million people to try and stop the rampant spread of the coronavirus. The decree applies to more than a dozen provinces and extended red zones in the north of the country. Anyone defying the order will be subject to criminal charges. This draconian measure comes after the Italian Civil Protections Authorities reported an increase in cases from 4,600 to 5,800 across the entire country in a 24-hour period between Friday and Saturday. In that 24-hour period, they went from 147 deaths to 233. Do you understand when they say it's not as bad as the flu, that we don't see these kinds of rapid expansion? We don't see this dramatic increase. We don't see government officials coming down with it. In Iran, government officials actually dying. This is more serious with a substantially higher mortality rate. The decree limits all movements, with very few exceptions, into and out of the northern region, which includes the city of Venice, Milan, Parma, and Modena. It is unclear what will happen to foreign nationals and tourists still in those areas. A draft of the decree was leaked to the Italian press hours before Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte signed it in the early morning hours, causing a mass exodus by road and rail from the affected areas. Several flights reportedly were allowed to leave from both Milan and Venice, adding confusion to an already chaotic situation. Now, all those people who are infected fled because they're scared of quarantine. There have been some things posted on the internet I've seen where people say that they're scared they have it, and they're worried if they go and try and actually get treatment, they'll be quarantined, and they don't want to lose their freedom. That's people. The best thing you can do if you have it is just go to the hospital. And look, if they quarantine you for a couple weeks, it might be bad. It really might be. But think about other people. I'll tell you what. Watch some TV. You know, it's going to be a boring couple of months as this keeps happening. A draft of the decree was leaked. Okay. We are facing an emergency, a national emergency, Conte said at a press conference around 2 a.m. after an emergency cabinet meeting ended. This is the moment of self-responsibility. Schools and many businesses have been closed in the north since February 21st, when the number of cases of COVID-19 in the country grew from just 3 in Rome to nearly 1,000 in Lombardy and Veneto provinces in under a week. The decree also, you know what I want to say too? A lot of people are like, it's only 1,000 people. The flu infects millions. Okay, dude, listen. It's like in a couple weeks. It's because the people who are experts, the CDC, these companies, they know one person then infects another person. Those 2 people now infect. Now you have 4, then 8, then 16, 32, 64, 128, 256. You get it. It keeps doubling. They keep infecting more and more people, but it's not even doubling. It's more than that. These individuals could infect 10 or so people. You might get it and it's mild. That's true. They lied about what Donald Trump said. He said some people get this. They don't realize. They go to work coughing and they're fine, and then later end up just recovering from it. Trump never said it is safe to go to work if you have it. He said some people do because they don't realize. He's right. 82% of people will be fine. 18% are being hospitalized, and 3.4% are dying. These are serious numbers. We are looking at potential strains of resources. So now we can see that this is crazy to see Italy do this. It really, really is. Take a look at this, though. It is only a matter of time until more European countries adopt the kind of aggressive steps that Italy is taking to combat the spread of the coronavirus, Australian Chancellor Sebastian Kurz said on Sunday. Did you just see what Italy has done? Austrian. Did I say Australian? Austrian. Did you see what they're doing in Italy? Locking down 16 million people, threatening them with criminal offenses for leaving the red zones? Austrian dude, he said it's going to hit more people. What makes you think it wouldn't come to the United States? Now, we have a constitution, but in certain emergencies, don't be surprised when quarantines take precedent. It's tough. I will always prioritize freedom over security. It's a balance, right? You want some security, but you want more freedom. This to me, when I'm looking at the Amtrak thing, suspending the service, when I'm looking at Starbucks being shut down in Seattle, someone serving drinks or working in the store where they serve drinks having the coronavirus, it's way worse than any of us realize. I hope you're all taking it seriously enough. But now what's freaky is this. The Daily News says the FDNY is pulling firefighters from answering medical calls that describe symptoms associated with the coronavirus. A department order issued Friday says 911 calls for asthma attacks, fever, coughs, and difficult breathing will be handled by the emergency medical service. Fire companies with certified first responder training that would normally accompany ambulances are being told to stand down, effective immediately. The following call types will temporarily not receive a certified first responder response. Now, I believe this is called an ambulance assist. The firefighters usually come out when the ambulance comes out. It looks like they're saying, don't do it. Firefighters got to prioritize firefighting. They're going to say FDNY spokesman Frank Dwyer defended the order as a move to prioritize resources amid the outbreak of COVID-19. Firefighters continue to respond to the highest priority medical calls, whether they are potential COVID or not, including segment 1 incidents, cardiac and respiratory arrests, choking and trauma incidents. On every call type, additional fire and EMS resources can be dispatched as needed. Segment 1 refers to top priority calls. The Friday order referred to segment 2 calls. So it sounds like what they're saying is if someone is sick, but it's not an emergency, or actually, no, these are emergencies, these are 911 calls. Let me read it. The mayor says EMS is different, and this department order shows exactly how we stand apart. EMS is once again on the front lines as the city deals with the coronavirus outbreak. Our members will go into the hot zone of people who might be infected. That is our job. All right, we get it. There are priority 1, priority 2 calls, and they're shifting now to priority 1. But let me mention something. I see a bunch of these really annoying memes where they take like a series of photos and then show a random comedian and they put a fake quote in it. Those things annoy me so much. It's like that comedian never said that. Stop putting them in those memes. It's like they're trying to use the image of the comedian and then make a point that's like not legitimate. And one of them said, oh, we've been there, done that, SARS, MERS, Zika, swine flu, blah, 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 blah. Let me ask you a question. Did the Iranian government see 10% of its members of parliament infected and many members of its government dying? Did Italy issue a hard quarantine on 16 million people? Did China lock down the entire country when these things happened? No. You know what happened during Zika? I was flying around during Zika. They put up signs at the airport and they said, hey, you might have Zika. Ooh, that's it. During Ebola, they put up signs saying, have you traveled to these countries? Take this threat seriously. That was it. Now they're locking down in the United States, in Europe, in Asia, in Australia. People are fighting over toilet paper in the stores. So at the very least, you can see that the panic is going to have a serious effect. A train was just shut down. It's just starting. It is just starting. If this continues to get worse, and it likely will, listen to the experts. I can't tell you who's right or who's wrong. I can tell you not to panic, and I can tell you that there are epidemiologists and experts that are saying this will get worse than we realize. There was one guy who did an interview with Channel 4 in the UK the other day. I covered this. He said that this was the most frightening disease he has ever seen because the ease of transmission. It's a moderately low mortality rate, but still substantially higher than the flu, like 34 times higher, which means people are going to be spreading this around, not realizing it, being rather asymptomatic, and it's going to end up killing more people than the flu or Ebola or any other disease simply because it can be transmitted so easily. One report said it can stay on surfaces up to 9 days. Incubation could be as high as 27 days, up to 2 weeks. People who are asymptomatic could be spreading this around. Apparently kids can be too. Now we're seeing it. We're seeing the escalation. Nursing home hit by coronavirus says 70 workers are sick. As a federal team arrived to help, a spokesman for the Kirkland, Washington Center said 70 staff members were out with symptoms that resembled coronavirus. What do you think happens next? It spreads. People get sick. Most people will cough, lay in bed, watch TV, and then everything will be fine. So it will ripple across many countries. But I think we're going to end up seeing a desperate attempt to stem this to the best of our abilities, and that's going to cause supply chain disruption. So I hope you take my advice seriously. You don't have to, though. You're free to think I'm stupid or crazy. I don't care. I'll tell you what. People in Australia right now fighting over toilet paper. People in Hawaii, Seattle, New York are raiding Costco stores and Walmarts and things like that. They are buying up everything, and you're going to sit there laughing about how smart you are up until the point when it gets bad enough to where you're like, man, I better go to the store, and there's nothing left. But don't panic. That's even worse. I can't believe there's a video of a woman with a shopping cart full of toilet paper. That's insane. Get your single thing. Get one of them. Don't take it all. I can't believe they had to put a guard in a store to protect toilet paper. People are stupid. I'll leave it there. Next segment will be at 4 p.m. youtube.com/Timcast. It is a different channel, and I will see you all then.